things change a little bit with the camera in front.
That's fine.
Okay, Sebastian.
Ernest.
Thank you for the time, Edgar.
Not a problem.
I'm here in the Migrant Center. I want to start by knowing yourself a little bit. I'm wondering if you could tell us about your journey to be here.
Okay. So
I mean, I think it's a
I'm trying to
long
figure
question.
how long, how so.
What about this? I see that you are here in the Migrant Center and you are active politically. And I want to start by knowing yourself a little bit. I'm wondering if you could tell us about your journey to be here.
Okay. So.
Don't worry. I mean, I think it's a
I'm trying to
long
figure
question.
how long, how so.
What about this? I see that you are here in the Migrant Center and you are active politically and with these issues related to migration. I'm wondering who motivates you to be in this field, like a book, maybe a person.
Well, I'm also an immigrant, so let's say this. I came to America in 2005. I came in high school. This position kind of happened naturally, organically, but pretty much I think when you live in a society, you have to kind of know what's going on. So I'm just not involved with this cause. I kind of pay attention with like what's happening in the city that I live in, if that makes sense. As time progressed with me, so I came here I went to high school in Long Island, and then I came to City College. I was involved with clubs, the radio station, and student government, and then I graduated and I became an employee. But the more you live life, you see all these roles that are being placed, and you're like, who made this decision? How did this happen? So then you just start to be involved in politics. I'm in a fraternity, and with the fraternity, the best way to get support is to go to the local politicians.
Okay.
So you start to work with the local politicians just to get resources for community support, for scholarship. So you just start to be involved just because of those different parts of life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, once in university, you have to you have to live your academic life and your personal life.
Yes.
And try to
Yes.
handle it.
Yes. Your academic life, also your professional life. Because a lot of times as a student, you have to work also to just, to support yourself. So oftentimes, most people you have your academic life, you have your personal life, which is your life at home with your family, and then you have your professional life because you sometimes have to work. So
I see. And I usually have the idea of fraternity is what movies have gave me. So
Okay.
I would like you to explain me how the fraternity was,
So
how that experience was for you.
I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Uh-huh.
Our colors are purple and gold. So big names would be Jesse Jackson, Shaquille O'Neal, Michael Jordan would be the big names you would know. I joined because it was the right thing to do. It's just kind of like I knew that I was looking for a bigger family, so that became the fraternity. And what I will say that the fraternity has done for me, it has allowed me to learn how to live life without a lot of consequences. And what I mean by that is because of the work. So I'm actually involved and engaged with the fraternity. So I've been treasurer, secretary, president at the local and regional level. So because of that, you get to try an idea with the fraternity, and if it works, that's work experience that you're developing without even knowing it. That is how it's helped me grow professionally.
I agree with that.
How it helped me grow personally, we're international fraternity. So pretty much everywhere I go in the world, there's almost always somebody I can call for support. So that's also very nice.
That's a great advantage in some way by the fraternity be connected with
Yeah.
any country. You mentioned that the fraternity was involved with local politicians.
Yes.
How come?
So we are a non-for-profit.
Mm-hmm.
So the best way, let's say we're doing an event, we're doing a back to school drive, and we need books, notebooks, backpacks. Oftentimes, the local politicians, they have resources and they have money to give to buy the supplies. So you go and you ask. So those are the people that you can go and ask. Also, oftentimes, the local politicians are doing community service events where they need help, they need manpower. They can set up the event, but they need people to support the event. So we also will go and volunteer our time there. So it's a good way to engage with local politicians, mainly with community service.
I agree. What surprised me is how you be involved and at the same time you get some part of it.
You get the
Like
experience.
yeah.
You get the experience because if I wasn't in the fraternity, the likelihood that I would understand non-for-profit or I would even be remotely engaged with local politicians, I would probably go to work, go home, you know.
And for me as an exterior person that hasn't been involved in that world, it sounds difficult. It sounds that it requires the time,
Yes.
the predisposition.
You don't have to have a position. You can just be, you know, a member. You don't have to be, you know. It's kind of like a church. You can be the person that goes to church every Sunday, or you can be the person that's a part of the choir, and then you go on Wednesday to Bible study. Like, you can kind of decide how involved and engaged you are. But the more involved you are, the more likely you are to learn, if that makes sense. The more experiences that you get, and through the experiences, you learn a whole lot more.
I agree 100% with that because one thing is the theoretical experience and the empirical experience. That's where I myself have failed to realize that maybe it works in that way, but you know, if we have this kind of
Well, you have time to try. If you haven't failed it, you have time to try.
Thank you. You mentioned that you are aware with the local politicians and the news. It seems for me that most of the time there is experts saying people what is happening. Most of the time I disagree with them. I disagree with them because they use just a few words to describe a larger topic. Looking at the news, maybe 30 seconds of what's going on is maybe not enough. I feel like it's impacting my life, but the information is kind of scarce in that sense.
So I think when it comes to the media, one thing that we have to try to do is look at all of it. And then what I mean by that is if you go and you watch Fox News, it can be completely different than MSNBC. They're reporting on the same event, but different perspectives. And it's also important to take the time to get all the information for yourself and just to try and think about it. Because what the media is supposed to be objective. The media is supposed to tell you the facts. But that's not what it is. Either one is very liberal, one is very conservative, and they're trying to influence you. So I think it's important to find as much information as you can and kind of like see how it's going to impact you and your society, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because 30 seconds, 1 minute is not enough for you. Like you're in college, you see how big your textbook is.
Yeah.
Even when the professor gives you a lecture for an hour and a half, you still have to go home and read for 3-4 hours. It's no different. You have to, and it's difficult. It takes a lot of effort, but you have to find the time to get as much as you can on the topic to kind of like come up with a decision and try to get both sides of the argument.
I see the idea that you are mentioning. For me, it's really true that even if it affects you positively or negatively, it's up to you to realize, is that true? Yeah, that news.
Yeah.
It's kind of curious because at the end, even if they are saying something that is not quite accurate, let me pick the topic of climate change, let's say. What they are saying is like they are informing. It's up to you, believe it or no. Like they are innocent if they lie, or maybe if they not just like that. They try to use words that doesn't.
They try to use words to
intensity.
get you to think a certain kind of way. They want you to. They're like, climate change is happening but it's not bad. Climate change is happening, but it's good. Like if so, they're not lying, but they're not giving you like the facts. They're not like being, they're not being in the middle. They're not being objective to say like, this is the facts. This is the impact of it. We're not saying it's good or bad, but this is the information. I think it's up to us to kind of like do our own research to figure out what makes sense. Because some things you can't lie. Some things you can't lie about. Some things are like very much like water is wet. Like that just is. Like if you see a bucket of water, you touch the water, your hand is gonna be wet. You cannot modify that. But you only know that if you go and you get the information and get all of the information, not a 10-second clip on social media or a 30-second brief on the news. You have to get as much information as possible.
And what is even more serious is, like, have you ever seen the political statements of the president, the new president? Like, in one tweet, you are being informed of what is gonna take months of work for the lawyers.
Yes, that is even this new big beautiful bill that just passed.
Yeah.
It is the size of 5 dictionaries. It cannot be summarized in one tweet. It's 160 characters. That doesn't make sense.
But most of the time, these experts are the ones that are in the focus of attention. So, do you think do you feel represented by the words, for example, of newspapers, of the president, tweets of the president, or if there is a point in which you decide to come up with something by your own?
I think it's a good thing you mentioned experts. I think you have to find people that you trust, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody is an expert doesn't mean I trust them.
Okay.
Especially in 2025, when it's very easy to become an expert.
Mm-hmm.
There is this Republican guy. He's a Republican commentator. His name comes up all the time. You see him on social media all the time. He is like one of the main go-to people. And for some reason, I was like, but he's an expert for them. And I was just like, let me Google his name. For some, because like I started to see, with social media, especially YouTube, you see something once you start to see a lot of it.
Okay.
And I was
yeah.
like, let me Google this person. The person did 1 semester of community college.
Oh my God! And he's there, representing the community.
He is now a millionaire, representing the Republicans. And I'm just like, how am I supposed to take him as an expert?
Oh my God! Can you imagine? I think even though when he's holding a position of great influence.
Yes.
And he's been with that level of, let's say, academic preparation, you could be influenced by the superiors, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
But he's also influencing a large population of people in America. I will show you after the interview, I will show you who I'm talking about, and I guarantee you've seen a video of him in the past 30 days. It's just, but I was like, but let me look at his script, because a lot of times people are expert, but who made them the expert?
Mm-hmm.
What credentials do you have that makes you an expert? What kind of experience do you have that makes you an expert? How long have you been doing this?
I got it. For me, in my personal life, I have seen that me too, even when I align myself with Democrats, even though I discover in my own some bias, some things, there is some statements that it's difficult for me to trust.
Yes.
And even to believe that it is true what they are talking about.
I don't think so. I'm black in America, so I'm supposed to say I'm a Democrat.
Oh.
But I'm not a Republican either. I think as I've grown up, I've learned to vote what works best for me, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Um, so the past couple times when I've went to vote, I voted for both Democrats and Republican. I'm a homeowner now. I bought a house during the pandemic with my family, and the Nassau County executive, the person that was running, was talking about raising property taxes. I can't afford for you to raise property taxes. It's just not, it would make no sense for me to vote for you because you're Democrat, I'm Democrat, I should vote for you, when you're going to do something that is going to hurt me, if that makes sense.
I think that perspective is really powerful because, as I noticed, Democrats and Republicans are every day more separate, like polarized. And either you kind of agree with one topic of the Democrats, but disagree with another one, and it could be happen the same with the Republicans. So it do you think it comes to personal interest? Like if you,
I think because being Haitian, you have 1,000,001 political parties. I think because it's only 2 political parties here, they try to make everything fit in the box when it's not that simple. It's just not. To say that everything is black or white when there's a whole bunch of gray, and yes, I agree with what the Democrats say, but I can't afford to pay more property taxes. Like, if I voted for that, if I voted for the person that was running as a Democrat and they raised the taxes, I would not have my house anymore. So it's not always so simple as, I think for me, I try to look at what have you done, what you talk about, is it legal, is it ethical, and will it not hurt me? And that's how I try to vote for the most part. And most of it is always Democrats, but every now and then the Republicans say something that.
I can imagine that is that a leader of the Republican Party, like one maybe, but he is part of the whole.
Yeah. But he's only responsible for Nassau County, if that makes sense. What he's saying doesn't have to benefit all the Republicans. It just has to benefit the people that live in Nassau County. Like, even for example, I work in New York City. I cannot vote for the mayor. The mayor has a very big influence on my life. Very big, because they decide the tolls, parking, all of these things. That's decided by. But I'm a Nassau County resident. I didn't vote for Eric Adams. I couldn't vote for him, and I don't get to vote for Mamdani in the fall. But whatever decisions they make is gonna affect my life. That just is.
And do you know what is behind it? Like,
It's
you're supposed to
zoning. No. I'm not. I don't live in New York.
Oh,
so,
got it.
so New York City. For you to vote in New York City, you have to live in Brooklyn, Staten Island, Manhattan, Bronx, for the 5 boroughs. If you don't live in the 5 boroughs, and a lot of people in New York City work in New York City, but they live in New Jersey, Connecticut, Long Island.
Yeah, I have seen the railroad train is always full, like in the mornings, evening.
Yeah.
It's always full.
I used to live in Manhattan, but it's been 5 years since I've moved out, and their decisions have a direct impact on my life. Like, when they put congestion pricing has a direct impact on my life.
I don't know what is that. Congestion pricing.
So they charge a toll for you to drive downtown Manhattan. Yeah.
Okay. In my mind, it's like there is a toll when you go in Manhattan. So there is another one.
There used to so now there is 2. So, like, if you come across the bridge, the New Jersey bridge, once you come into Manhattan, you come even the Bronx, you're coming into Manhattan, you cross the bridge, you pay a toll to come into New York City.
Okay.
And then when you come downtown, once you go down 96th Street and below, you're paying a toll for coming into downtown Manhattan.
Welcome to downtown.
So you're paying 2 tolls.
Sorry. I want to come back to what you say about the which one to vote, the Republican or the Democrat who is trying to raise the property tax.
Mhm.
I think it goes to what they are saying and to which community or which public. And I think that idea resonates with the new president. I think in some way I hear it during the campaign saying what people want to hear in different communities. I have an example, for example, with the end of the Ukrainian-Russian war. You know, there is one sector of, one population that agree with it. The jail for criminals, and in some way that was as well too general for really serious issue. But now I think in the name of in these proposals, he's not fulfilling them, like as he say, like even though
once you get elected, you don't have to do, unfortunately, the only recourse we have as voters is to not re-elect him next time. But
oh my,
because unfortunately, when somebody's campaigning, they're just making promises. They don't have to actually do any of this. And what Trump did, which I think he's really good at talking to people, whoever's in the room, about their own issues. He'll come in this room, the issue is immigration, he'll talk about immigration, we have to fix immigration. He'll go across the street, go to the financial aid office, and be like, the problem is money. We're gonna fix money. Money's the problem. He'll go to the science building and say, research is the problem. So we're gonna fix research. And then, but no one, because the people are hearing what they wanna hear, they're not listening to what he's saying over there, because what he's saying over there may not benefit them. He said what I wanted to hear. I'm good. I'm gonna vote for him. The people over there say, oh, he said what I wanted to hear. He focused a lot on the term that you'll hear people say, single issue voters. People that only have one problem that they care about. So he was very big at going to different groups. This is your problem? I'll fix. Even with the war, Israel-Palestine, he's like, that will be over before I take office. I will resolve that.
Oh.
A war that's been going for over 2,000 years.
That's right. Like
he said it will be fixed before he comes into office.
It could not be fixed that easy.
No. But and then it happened. He got elected. He did not fix it, and you move on.
I think even when you are trying to fix it, which is kind of impossible, I think there is gonna be a dilemma at the outcome. Unfortunately, it's not an easy ending.
Well, I think he just said what people wanted to hear. A lot of times with politicians, and unfortunately, they just, even if you go back to Joe Biden, a big issue for people is student loans. I have student loans. But he said, I'm going to get rid of student loans. Logically, I know that it's impossible for the President of the United States to do. The reason why that is America is a country that's built on contracts. When I took out a student loan, I signed a contract with the bank that I was going to pay these loans back. The President doesn't have the power. He could pay the loans. He didn't say he was going to pay the loans. That would be completely different. He said he was going to get rid of them. When I took out a student loan, I signed a contract with the bank that I was going to pay these loans back. The President doesn't have the power. He could pay the loans. He didn't say he was going to pay the loans. That would be completely different. He said he was going to get rid of them. The President of the United States does not have the power to cancel business contracts. I know and understand that. A lot of people said, he's going to forgive my student loans. I'm going to vote for him.
Yeah. And they don't know the small letters there in the
Because when I walked into that financial aid office, and the first thing that they had me sign is a promissory note. That is a contract. That is a legally binding contract.
Oh my God, those contracts.
Yeah, but those are things that, like, unfortunately, oftentimes you hear the big words, you hear the buzzwords, and you don't look at, like, but can this really happen? Is it something that makes sense? Or does this sound good?
I think it could be like a bias as well, to wishing that thing to change, to relieve a little bit,
Yes, yes.
right?
Trust me, I wanted him to figure it out. I would have loved for Biden to figure it out, but I know that unless he was gonna come up with the money to pay, it's not. Because if he were able to do that, then what's stopping him from going into any business and canceling their contract?
I got the idea, but I think as well that maybe if he cannot cancel the contract, there is something to do with the interest. I don't know why they are too high, and when I'm
Well,
saying
that's the so that's with the yes, that is with the Federal Reserve. He can reduce future interest, but if you sign the contract, you already signed the contract. You just signed a bad contract. You get what I'm saying? It's kind of like, but I think we have to. The term is, if I go buy a house today, I'm buying at the interest rate today. It's just, if I sign a contract that says I'm gonna pay $10,000, I signed the contract. It doesn't mean, it happens all the time. If you look at the music industry, you'll hear a lot of artists say, I had a bad contract, I had a bad contract.
I hear it.
But you sign it, like there's not,
Yeah, it sounds good at the time, maybe.
or you just don't know, you don't do your research. Oftentimes, when we hear stuff, we don't really go, we hear, we're hooked, but it's different than to go to do the deep dive. We see the first page of the paper, but there's all these pages
That you are not seeing.
that we don't read, so we don't understand.
What is curious about the contracts is like, if something avoid you to fulfilling the contract, it doesn't matter if a pandemic happens, there, and like without consideration, the interest is gonna be charging. And
They put that in the contract. They usually put a natural disaster clause. They whoever writes these contracts, they put a lot of effort and time into it. And to me, a lot of stuff only made sense after I served in a jury. So I did jury duty one time, and it was a contract dispute. So I got to get a very, very different understanding of contracts.
oh my God.
And unfortunately, if it's a contract, if it's a good contract, once you sign it, there's not much you can do to get out of it.
Wow. Thank you for the warning.
Yeah. Before you sign anything, you gotta read and understand how it impacts you, if that makes sense. If you don't understand what it means, go find a lawyer, find somebody to be like, well, what does this mean? What does this mean for me?
I have some idea that, for example, during the recession in 2008, most of the homeowners who were getting a house for the first time, they end up paying more in interest than the house worth.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that in some senses they are paying too much. And I remember something about the Constitution that protects someone, the 8th Amendment, I think, or 13th.
If it's a bad contract, but it wasn't a bad contract.
No.
Because I didn't give you and I didn't tell you how much you owe. You signed saying, I accept, like, people didn't understand. Like, it's not like I gave you a contract, but what the contract said is different than what I'm giving you, if that makes sense. There's like, this is what it is. This is, you're gonna pay this price for the house. People just don't read.
Oh.
Like, even when I bought the house, we had a very good lawyer. The lawyer flipped to the page of payment. He's like, this is your interest rate. And I got my own lawyer. I didn't let, Because they were like, oh, we have a lawyer. I went to my own lawyer, and he flipped to the page, and it was a packet this big, and he was like, this is what you're agreeing, this is what you're agreeing, this is what you're agreeing, this is the cost, this is what the interest is going to be over 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Essentially, yeah, I'm paying for that. I'm paying double. With the interest, I'm paying double.
So in some way, they can tell you, for example, a house of $50,000, but once you sign, you realize that $50,000 is not what you're gonna end up paying.
Yeah, and once you sign, if it was in the paper,
Uh-huh.
if you didn't see it, so my house is, I bought my house for this
Really?
much. Bought my house for this much.
That's a good amount.
After interest and 30 years, this is how much I end up paying.
Like buying two houses, no?
But this is my interest. My interest rate is very low. This is my interest. And I'm only paying this much a month.
Okay, for 30 years.
Yeah. But when you look at the payment chart, I'm only paying $600 a month towards the principal.
And what does that means?
So when you have a loan, there's principal and there's interest.
Uh-huh.
The more you pay towards the principal, the faster you pay off the loan.
Got it.
But the way they do it is, in the beginning, you're paying mostly interest. So this is how much I'm paying every month,
Uh-huh.
but most of it is going towards interest in the beginning.
So,
They have a chart that they show you, and you see the chart. It is terrible. It is depressing.
my God.
You don't start paying any real money on that. And this is all loans. Most loans that you take out in the beginning, unless you pay extra on the loan, towards the principal, you have to specifically say, I want to pay extra towards the principal. You're mostly paying interest.
Wow, like mostly interest, and in some ways, kind of digging a hole and filling the hole with another
with a
hole.
spoon. You fill in the hole with a spoon.
No, that's the way the contracts work here. Like, I remember in Ecuador, one of my uncles paid for a refrigerator. It was like $200 for the refrigerator. And at the end of the day, they pay up like $500 for the refrigerator.
With interest.
Yeah, with interest.
But if he had the $200 cash, it would have. Unfortunately, if you had the money, you wouldn't take out a loan.
I got it. But for example, I'm thinking if that happened with a refrigerator, what they are doing with houses?
Everything. Everything that you have to take out a loan for,
Mhm.
they're making money.
Oh my God, that's unrealistic.
It is the like even in Haiti, you can take out loans, but oftentimes, and you can't do that here. Like, you buy the land, and after you buy the land, you build one room in the bathroom, and then you build little by little, so you don't have to take out a loan. In America, you have
The full house or nothing.
yeah. So you have no choice but to take out a loan.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, my house, I didn't see the house back in Haiti finish till after I went back on vacation, because I came in America in 2005. The house still wasn't finished.
Okay.
My dad was taking his time. Not till I went back in 2012, still wasn't finished. Not till 2017, that's when the house was finished.
17. And I think for people, it's a way to don't inquire in debt in our country.
And some people do it faster than others. People have different priorities, you know. My dad has
Prior.
he has 4 kids versus, or somebody may say, I want to go really hard and finish my house. It allows you to figure out whatever works for you.
Well, what scares me here in America is that even the savings that you put apart, like preserving them, are being taxed with inflation. I like to say taxed because you don't notice it, but you're losing purchasing power.
Yeah. Even it's not just your savings; it's your income. Because let's say you make the same income from year to year. If you're renting, your rent is gonna go up food is gonna go
Oh
up.
no.
Everything, like even unless you go and you make more money, you can't.
Cannot afford it.
No,
Well, I think this.
property taxes go up. Yeah.
You have to survive it.
Mhm.
And why it has to be like that? I mean, it's,
Because America is greedy. America is a capitalist country, and capitalist is about making more than you made the year before.
Mhm.
Because let's be honest. There's no reason for a company that made $20 million to need to make $21 million. They could be happy making $20 million. $20 million is a lot of money.
money.
They don't need to make more, but they want to make more, so they're gonna raise the prices. And as the customer, you need the product, so
Like, I got it. Like squeezing the resources, get the minimum for a little bit more of money.
and what's gonna happen? You have to eat, even if you're just doing the basics. You have to eat. You have to have
Live.
somewhere to live, and you have to go to work or school or whatever you're doing. You have to leave. You need transportation, whether it's the bus or you have a car. It's just, but there is no real reason, in my opinion, that companies need to raise prices. And I understand. I understand supply and demand and like resources. I get all of that, but the supplies are not being used that fast.
Yeah, that's what I think. That maybe a home is indeed a good resource to store your value, like your work.
Yeah.
Losing it in your bank account.
It's a good investment
Not what I-
depending on the year because it's inflation proof. Real estate, and this is globally, this is wherever you go. Real estate price only always goes up. What else is also natural?
Gold.
Gold prices change. It's pretty stable, but gold has gone up and down. But gold has actually gone down a little bit in some cases. Natural gas.
That's something that a person like a normal, a civil cannot afford, like having the resources.
You'd be surprised.
Really?
You'd be surprised. Because you're not gonna start, but you're gonna invest in the stock market on stocks that
Oh,
are,
got it.
you know, because
It's a good approach for
because
preservation.
in America, people are always gonna need electricity.
Yeah, otherwise it could
Yeah. So
end.
I think real estate is good investment, and resources, so fuel, propane, water, like stuff like that. Those are good. As for now, a good investment.
Got it. Oh,
And I don't know how to invest. That's just what
Don't worry.
I see for myself.
but I agree with it. Like those are in some way needs that could not be removed from a city like New York. It cannot exist without
Nope.
access to water, electricity, food.
We're sitting on the sixth floor of a building. It would be very difficult for us to make it this far up without the elevator.
Mm.
Not impossible. Not impossible, but difficult.
Difficult. Just to end up the session, I'm wondering what a person who lives in United States could do if he don't agree, for example, with the words of experts, he don't agree with the movement, with the social movement that the new policies are making in society. What do you think could be a good approach to start finding out how can I balance the sources in some way? Should I expose myself to these good ones and these that I think maybe are not as good?
So in America, you will have two perspectives. You have conservative and liberal. So try to get both the conservative view and the liberal view. That's usually, for me, that's what I found. Like, I go to Fox News and I go to MSNBC. I look for both.
Okay.
Also, a good way is to look at international news. International news just gives it a point of view. So I listen to NPR, which is independent press, or I'll go like I'll look at news from Canada or from France or from Europe because their perspective is usually a little bit more neutral, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm gonna start doing it. That's a new way to find out in which interesting times we are living in.
And then in terms of, I say find somewhere to be engaged locally. It helps. Find what your community hub is. Just to know what information is flowing to your community, because the information that's flowing to the community will kind of determine how the community is going to be in 5 years. Because, for example, Mamdani is running for mayor now, but he was elected in city council in 2020, and he had to start working before that to become city council. So his ideas are not new. He's just being able to move to the bigger stage now.
Okay.
But you can kind of pay attention to who the voices of New York City are.
And I want to just keep in mind what you say earlier, that trying to find a person that you trust, someone like
Yes.
an author.
Yes, and that takes time. It's not easy. It takes. I understand that it's very difficult when you have life happening, but you also have to make time. Because that takes effort. It's not easy. You have to, after you come home from a long day at work and school, do you really want to do research on what it's? But I think we have to. The term is being civically engaged. I think a lot of times people react when it comes to politics versus being, because that's what the term is called, civic engagement. You have to be actively participating in it, but oftentimes nobody pays no attention until it's time for elections. Even in New York City, if you look at the number of people that vote for the national election for the president drops by 80% when you get to local elections. But the local politicians have a much bigger impact on your life than, yes, Trump is putting out policies in Washington, D.C. that has an impact, but the mayor is doing something that's closer to home. The city council member is doing something that's on your own neighborhood. So finding ways to and there are also organizations in New York City, specifically, there's one called Educated Voter NYC. They show you all the candidates. So they all you have to do is just look at what they're saying so you can see who all the different candidates are and all the different issues. Because it's not only voting for people. When you go vote, there's also different policies that you can choose.
Okay.
And I know people that vote, they never turn the back of it to vote on the policies.
Policy. That's something curious because always the policy is what stands out from a politician. And
But some policies we vote on. Some policies they don't. Some policies politicians push through on their own. Some policies we have to vote on.
okay, the difference.
There was something that there was voted in New York City recently. It was one of those it was the first time. So this was in California back in '65, where the voters vote for it. But there was one in New York City. I think it's proposition. I don't remember what it was, but the people had to actually vote for it to pass. There are votes that the local voter has to. After you vote for the people, you turn the page. There's other stuff in the back, and some people don't. But that's because I think there is a concerted effort to keep us voters uneducated.
Yeah. It's the first time I hear that there is more policies for which we can decide.
Since I've been in America and I've been able to vote, I've been trying really hard to understand the system, and there's no playbook, if that makes sense. I think it's almost like they make it hidden on purpose.
Like find it by your own.
Not even, it's hard to find. And the reason why I'm asking, because when I was in school, so I went to middle school in Haiti, and there was a class called civic engagement, and during that class you're like, the president, this is his job. You have the three branches, the legislative, executive, and judiciary. This is the government, this is how the government works. You have you have the assembly member, this is his job. You have the council member, this is his job. They tell you. And when I came here and I started to be like, So where is the civics class? They're like, we don't teach that.
Wait.
What do you mean? They're like, yeah, we don't teach that. They removed that from the curriculum back in the day. So you want people to go and vote on a system, they don't know what the system is.
How is it working? Hmm. What a big difference to know the structure than how it works.
All we know for the most part is that every couple of years, somebody shows up and says, vote for me.
No, me.
Maybe they win, maybe they don't. Then they disappear. And then they come back another 4 years, hey, vote for me.
Oh no.
So did they do something? Did they work? Unless you're paying attention, how are you gonna know? And that's why you have to really pay attention.
Wow. I like the combination of those pay attention and the civic class that was removed from the curriculum.
Because then you know what the person's job is. Because I come to City College.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in here and I hear this is assembly member so and so. Well, what's his job? He's assembly member. Okay, what does the assembly member do? He's an elected official. No, that's how he became an assembly member. But what does an assembly member do? Nobody could tell me what their job is.
And I think I'm gonna find more people who not describe the job as well. Like I have no one ever seen talking about that issue.
That's one thing that like I've been trying to, and some you have to understand the system. Like for you to participate in the system, you have to understand the system. When I bought the house 5 years ago, they're like, this is when you pay your mortgage. This is when you put out the trash. You have to cut your grass. So your grass cannot. These are the rules to you being a homeowner. If something breaks, it's your responsibility. This is what being a homeowner is.
Yeah, like knowing the insurance, the tax for property.
You have to pay insurance, pay taxes. You have to pay the water bill. You have to pay electricity every month. The trash goes out twice a week. Recycling goes out once a week.
Oh.
This is the structure. Even when you come to City College, they're like, when you became a student, they're like, this is when your tuition is due. This is your class schedule. This is when the professor gives you a syllabus for every class. There is structure, there is order. And it seems like with politics, it's the Wild Wild West. Because yes.
It's like the big fish eating the small ones.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling of maybe nothing is changing.
Yeah. I'm trying to understand it. Maybe before I die, I'll understand it. But because I'm learning a new system. Now that I live in Long Island, it's a new system.
Oh.
It's a different county.
Okay.
It's kind of similar, but they don't have a mayor. We have a county executive. There's no city council. We just have assembly members and area representatives.
Okay.
It's a completely different structure.
Who knows why?
Well, it kind of equals technically the assembly, and I've kind of the assembly, the county executive is technically the mayor, so that they would be equal positions. But we don't have a city council. We don't have a city council like New York.
Well, I think, information is the first step, obviously.
Yes.
But what I don't like is that it could be routinious, tedious, and in some way boring. I found, for example, some authors that have that spark of initiative of, oh, this is what's happening, and make you feel intrigued about it and connected with it. And I think most of the main issues that this happen to the community, let's say the Hispanic community, is kind of indirectly connected with you, even if
it's connected. It's connected with everybody. It's not just Hispanic. We're all New Yorkers. It's one community.
Yeah.
But
in that moment, makes sense for me. But when they talk in this policy for this section,
but that's because they try to do it so that they. And I go back to saying this. They try to keep you ignorant.
Oh no!
This is not your issue. You don't have to worry about it. But what that just did, that means you limited the people that can vote on it.
Oh,
If,
no.
if I tell you, for example, this is the exam. Everybody's gonna take the exam, but if your last name starts with O, don't look at page 25. You're still getting graded for page 25. I just told you not to look at it. But that's how they do to control and influence the votes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's I think that they do a big effort to limit information because it's easier to influence the voters if they don't have all the information. If I tell you this is not going to affect you, we know that's not how things work. Because once a law passes, it affects everybody. But I have a higher probability of getting the law passed if everybody's not looking.
Oh, so kinda.
There you start to get into the realm of political strategy, voter, what's the word? Voter theory, voter manipulation.
Just to know that you can, I mean, social media, some news, some something that happens in your day and you saw it could manipulate your activities, of what you are gonna be thinking about.
Yeah. Because you'll hear a lot of people in New York say, "I don't feel safe." You hear a lot of in New York. The last elections, when Adams was elected, it's like people like, "I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe." But when you look at the crime rates didn't change. If the crime rates didn't change, then why do you not feel safe? What is happening? But if you looked at the news at the time, there was a whole bunch. The news only talked about crime.
Right.
So you don't feel safe, but the actual crime, there was not more crime.
Oh my God. When you say they try to keep you ignorant, it strikes me.
Information is important. Information is important. Sometimes it's hard to find.
Yeah. I mean, it makes more sense when I feel like it's part of what I'm living, that it's gonna impact my life, not just their life. Is I have a personal opinion with the immigration cases. If you deprive someone of his civil rights, it's just a matter of time that they are gonna deprive you of the same civil rights.
Yes.
And maybe with the same excuse even.
Yes, that's what happened with history in America. If you look at American history, that's usually how it goes. They start with one group, and then from one group it goes to two.
Oh.
And then the perfect example is drugs. The war on drugs in America started with black people. Now it's the war on everybody. Because at first, drugs was only a black people problem. And you have all these laws, and the black community was targeted heavily in the 90s. And now you have new drugs. And people that don't look like you take those drugs. And now they're using those same laws against them too. This is what they can do to one person, they can do to everybody. And I don't think a country that was built on immigration, because most of us are immigrants, 5 years or 105 years, our families still came here from somewhere for the most part.
Yeah, I think that's what forms the bigger picture. In the New York, I hear, for example, the mosaic of migration. And it's beautiful that zone of words, like mosaic of migration, because it's like there was periods of time with different waves from different parts of the world that arrived here. And here it was the melting pot.
It still is a melting pot. Still is. New York is the only place that you can travel to different countries with a Metro card. You go to the Bronx for Italian food. You come downtown Manhattan for Chinese food, and you go to Queens for a whole bunch of food from South America, different countries. New York is one of the only places you can do that.
Yeah, I have that experience myself. Like my mother usually say that it's like traveling without a passport.
Yeah.
And it was curious that you say traveling with a metro card, and I resonate with it.
Yeah, it's very.
The experience for me has been wonderful to know that you can go and try Indian food, go and try Chinese food, and it's really all these traditions combined make that is make.
It makes New York City. I don't know if I would love to move back to Haiti if Haiti was to be stable, but I would love to retire there. But I think as a 30-something-year-old young man, I don't know if I could live anywhere else because you have abundance very close. Because they say travel is wealth, and you don't need a passport to travel in New York City.
I agree.
You just need time. Just the time on the subway, or if you drive, I drive, so you just have to be able to drive to go where you want to go. There's a lot of different museums that cover different topics. You can experience culture from neighborhood to neighborhood.
Festivals. I have tried myself some festivals like
Yes.
Bangladesh Festival. I tried. It was called the Ramadan. It was an event where they prepare some food and they kind of explain me, and I was enjoying it. The journey.
It's only in New York City. I know some people that I know that left New York City, and they miss the diversity, especially if you grew up experiencing it. Like if every weekend you're trying something different, and like one of my friends, she lives in Buffalo now, and she's just like, it's just not. There's no options. There's no options because she grew up here. It feels like every weekend she was trying something different, and now she's just like, it's the same.
Where's the people?
But the people are there, but it's the same food. It's the same. You can't say I want something different and go get something different.
It happens to me when I hear, for example, a new dish, and I say, where they sell it? Of
Experience
course.
it.
Well, thank you for your time, and I
Not a
appreciate the space that you give me.
Not a problem.
I hope you see you again.
Listen, I'll be around.
Thank you.